Folks, you know what time it is. It's the Friday flows, and today it's another special episode. We've got none other than Eoin Magner on the call. Now, this is the first time. It's the first time I've had anyone from the customer success team actually jump on a Friday flows. And if you don't know Mr. Magner, one thing you should probably know is that he's a black belt in making sausage rolls. Anyone that's
Yeah, yeah, you're giving out my secrets now. You're
giving
giving out
out
my
the
secret.
secrets.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that,
for anyone that's not up to date on the canon of modern Irish culture, usually a sausage roll is purchased for like three sausage rolls for £1 in a shop on the side of a road when you're hungover. But Owen Magner makes some very fine ones. So
yeah.
uh,
We'll send out the link and we'll share the recipe as well. Yeah, yeah,
but outside of that, he's also very, very good with tines and has built a really interesting story for today's episode. So, what I was going to take us through is basically a scheduling manager that has the back end is all tines, the front end is tines, and this is something that shows a huge amount of versatility in terms of leveraging pages. And really just gives you an insight into how Tines can work outside of like your pure security use cases. So excited to get into it. But yeah, Magner, great to have you on, man. Let's jump in. What are we looking at?
yeah. Thanks very much, Cam. We'll dive right in. So I'll share the screen and we can show you from the start exactly what the actual application itself looks like. So before I go through walking through the different branches of the story and everything, I'm going to jump into the pages and show you what the front end looks like and how we'd actually use that. So I'm going to zoom in here on our landing page and pop this open. You know I'm not a graphic designer anyway. I kept the design very simple. I'm function over form, but you can feel free to style this however you want later. But yeah, a couple of easy buttons at the start. So we've got our own user management here and our own schedule manager. When we talk about user management, we'll pop in and just look at a couple of the users that we've configured here already. But when we talk about user management, the great thing about this is just capture a couple of fields that are used by this story or can be used by this story in the future. All of the authentication in this, it's not something you have to worry about. It's actually just done through the regular Times login. So whether that's with your magic link or with you having configured SSO, it's all already there. So nothing complicated here, just a couple of extra fields. And yeah, you can do the regular update your user, delete a user. We're going to create a user now just at the start, just to go through the process. So I'm just going to create myself. So Owen Magner, I'll do emagner at times.io. And I'm going to do a fake phone number so no one is texting me for my sausage roll recipes. Um, But yeah, that'll be our create a user. And one of the things that's going on in the background here is it's just fetching the Slack ID. At a later stage in this phase two of this kind of story is going to be reaching out and contacting these people. So it's that is just not the Slack ID actually isn't used in this story, but it's just kind of future proofing for the expansion of where the story is going to go. So yeah, that's our viewing the users and creating the users. Really simple. Let's look at viewing a schedule we've already created, and then we'll go into creating a schedule ourselves. So I've just created a support on-call rotation here. And in here, when we're looking at this, we can see a couple of things. Schedule name, the description, uh, when it's rotating. So this is just rotating weekly. What time? It's 8 a.m. on a Monday. And then it always gives you 2 months of the schedule. So at every point in times, you always have 2 months of runway in front of you for the schedule that you're going to make. And you can configure that. That's literally one number to change. So if you want to change that to 4 months, it's one number to change, and you're going to have 4 months of schedule looking ahead. Yeah, 2 months of schedule there. And then very easy if you see, okay, Monday, November 11th, Jay Smith is there, but he's actually not available. We can just click on Jay Smith here, and then we can actually replace him. So it takes the other people who are available within the schedule, apart from the user who we're replacing, and you can replace them with that. So I'm going to do Jay Tynes, and it's going to replace that user for me. And we'll now see that Jay Tynes is actually taking the first two shifts. So we have our schedules, easy to view, easy to understand, and easy to kind of replace any users who are currently scheduled. So let's look at actually creating a schedule and what ways we can go about in creating these schedules. So I'm going to go to create schedule, and I'm going to call this the engineering on call for engineering. And I'm going to add all the users to this. And now we have a couple of rotation types. So we can rotate daily. So daily is just literally rotate every day and pick a time you want to rotate. We can rotate weekly, which is what we saw in our support on-call rotation, where it's rotating once a week at a particular date and time, or we can do custom. So what custom means is you can select either hourly, daily, or weekly, and you can do a custom version of that. So let's say if we were doing custom weekly, we might want to rotate every 3 weeks or every 5 weeks. We did custom hourly, maybe we want to rotate it every 4 hours or 8 hours. Rotating every 8 hours is great if you have like people in different parts of the world who are doing a rotating shift, so you're 24/7 covered. For this one, we'll just do a quick daily rotation. Oh, schedule already exists. I've already made that one. I've already made that one. That's that's my luck there with the demo gods.
You've been busy.
That's it. I'm playing with this one too much. CSE on call schedule. Better not call them all tests. CSE on call. Maybe. So just when you're selecting your daily one, then we just pick what hour do you want to rotate on and what minute do you want to rotate on. So I'm going to say I want this to rotate at 10 a.m., literally 10 a.m. on the dot every day. I can click create on the schedule. And just like that, it actually does all the work for us. So gives us the schedule name, the description, who's in the schedule, once again, what type, what time, and it gives us the next 2 months of schedule that we can look forward to, and we can replace any users we want. So that's the actual story itself. That's us viewing users, creating users, viewing schedules, and creating schedules. We're going to have a look at the actual back end and see what's going on here. So there's a lot in this story, as you can see here. We're not going to go into massive detail on everything because there's a lot going on, but I'll touch on each of the different branches, what they're doing, and how we're actually managing the rotations themselves. So off the pages is very simple. We've just got a trigger for each of our branches. So we've got a create user trigger, which literally takes your page and creates your records. We've got a view user, which is querying your records and viewing the users. We've got in your create schedule. Now this is multi-page, right? So as we select different options, it's going down different branches. So you can see there's a daily branch, a weekly branch. There's custom branches that is then hourly, daily, or weekly. And then what else we got? We've got a view schedule, which is just to view your schedules. And then all the way over here on the left, we've got a couple of different options. So this is our user deletion flow. This is our update user flow. And this is our update or alter schedule flow. How this works when we're actually creating a schedule. So if I go down to one of these schedules, this daily schedule I just created, what we're actually doing is we're actually dynamically creating actions that have time schedules built into them. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, we can see we've got a couple actions. So these actions are always permanently here, but every time we create an action, it's dynamically creating this schedule action and setting a schedule on it. So if I go ahead here and create another schedule, another action will come in here and attach to this with its own schedule, and it will just emit. And what this does is it actually set who the current on-call user is, and it actually rotates that for you. And when it rotates it, it also adds on an extra entry at the end. So, as you're consuming this, it's always adding on more entries into the future. So you always have a 2-month roadmap of what's coming ahead. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I could go into lots of detail on a huge amount of this, but there's great flexibility in being able to schedule whatever you want here. There is a part 2 of this story coming where we're going to be fetching this on-call user, and if you have something like an alert, we'll be able to use the send to story to be able to notify this user using something like Twilio with calls or text, or Slack for messages, or email as well. One of the nice things about this story as well is that all of the data is actually stored in our records. So we have 3 different record types. So we've got our user records here, which just encapsulates the concept of our users. We've got our schedule record type here. So we can see there's the support on-call rotation. If I refresh this, it'll actually bring in the one I just created as well. We've got our support on-call rotation, our CSE on-call rotation, and we've got our schedule entries as well, which are actually child records. So they're actually attached here to the schedules themselves. A couple of nice things about doing it this way. We can build charts out on the records. We can go to the schedule records, which holds every schedule's entries are in this, and then we can filter them down by schedule. But a nice thing about this is we can make nice graphs about, okay, what user across all schedules has been on the most shifts. So some users will be on different rotations, more than one, and it's nice to be able to calculate really easily with times records, who's doing what and how often. So yeah, all backed by times records here in the back end as well. So yeah, that's the schedule manager, nice and simple. Yeah, and hopefully very easy to use.
Yeah, incredible stuff, Magner. I think, folks, if you just want to jump back into the actual story itself there on for a second, like,
Yeah.
folks, obviously there's two things that I'd pinpoint here. Like a scheduling manager like this would obviously make a lot of sense for an incident response team, but looking at the workflow from that top-down view, there's two things. Like obviously, Pages is the main thing that's driving a lot of this. Giving you an ability to completely customize a front-end form and then add as many as you like within a story. So basically, you have an application built out. On times, and then the level of branching logic using the trigger actions here as well. That's just a perfect example of once you understand that you can use Pages and branching logic in that way, there's so many different things you could do with times. But this is one incredible example that shows a lot of ingenuity and was probably very interesting to build out. But fair play to you, Magner. That's a great story, man. I appreciate it. So, folks, if there's any other stories or any other use cases or technologies you'd be interested in seeing, let us know. Pop them in the comments below. When we get this story uploaded to the library in Tines, I will be posting it in the comments of this video on LinkedIn and on the YouTube link as well. So just bear with us if it's not there at the time of watching this. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Like and repost to your network, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, Owen.
Cheers, Cam.
All
Thanks.
right.